HGH family, we are here out at the clubhouse at the range and we are doing some Dutch oven cooking. You are in for a treat. Stay tuned.
Because you've now heated this ground up and you're not sucking all the heat out of your coals as you're trying to cook. And it'll take you 45 minutes longer if you don't do that. If you forget and just try to cook here, you have to get that ground, the moisture out of it and the heat to be able to stay in the ground. So it's interesting. So start your campfire and then get your campfire, just slowly move it this way as you're adding logs. And then you can keep cooking right alongside.
That's cool.
It really makes, and I'm telling you, if it's 40 degrees or less out, you really have to pay attention. So, we're by the coals, and it's amazingly warm next to the coals, and you forget how cold everything is. Well, you walk away from the heat, and remember how cold it is. Yeah, because it's a noticeable difference. So,
Right.
I definitely notice, because I am a woman. Yeah. I do not like cold weather. My jacket. Okay, so important tool. Do you want me to start? You can find one of these little fireplace shovels. They're great. If you got a handy trait in you, you can take like Kathy's husband made this for me, as a matter of fact.
That is cool.
Yeah, and then he put my logo in it too.
That was really
cool. So if you have a laser or even really a drill, you can drill holes in these, and then they get the ash out, so that you just have coals, and you're not gonna, because it's important. You'll see as we go along, you don't want to smother your coals with ash, and that's one of the nice things about this charcoal is it burns hot and clean. So you'll notice the difference if you use Kingsford is a great charcoal, but if you do a pile of Kingsford charcoal next to this Mesquite, this is going to last 3 times longer, and they're going to have minimal ash left. So as you're adding to your pots to keep them warm, you're not having to sift out all that ash, because it's like crazy. You can make everything with Bisquick. We do biscuits and gravy, we make cinnamon rolls, the honey butter biscuits. I mean, it's just unbelievable the stuff you can make with Bisquick. So what we'll probably do is just keep the meat on one side for stuff that we know is going to get cooked, and then and then that way, if it drips or whatever, we're not freaked out by it. I mean, there's not much that bugs me, but I don't do that. Isn't that weird? But that does. Not much bugs me.
Chopping both ways or just slices?
That's good, like that, and then maybe slice that one in half. And then on the meat, hot coals, because when you go to grab it, it's going to be hot, and or it'll melt. So this would be as close as I'd want to get to that. And I'm just going to stack it so that the heat from that can get this started. And like I said, you'll really notice a difference in weather. If it wasn't this cold out, that gets going a lot faster. So the weather, just adjust for that when you're cooking in colder weather. Usually, a lot of times the ovens will have a number on them, a 10, 12, 14, and that'll tell you the size of your oven. These are great if you're just cooking for a small amount of people. I have them up to 22. So
oh my God.
Yeah, so I mean they make them bigger. So the Maca out of Utah makes these massive ovens. They're great someday. And then if you look at this, the difference in height, this is called a deep. If you can see, it's a little bit deeper than this one is. So if you're making breads or chilies or anything that you need that extra height, get one regular and one deep if you're going to get a couple of ovens. Okay, this is great. You can put a whole chicken in there with onions, garlic, carrots, and potatoes and cook the whole thing in that one oven. And I just use vegetable oil. You can use whatever you want. We're also going to saute onions. Now, everybody has a different opinion of how to take care of your ovens. And, my biggest thing is just don't use soap, because you can taste that soap when you go to cook in your oven the next time around. So you just don't want to use soap on cast iron.
Is that cast iron skillets? Okay.
Yep, same thing. So really get going with it. So now it is an oven, so you're going to have coals on the bottom and on the top, and that's going to create your even heat with the cast iron. If you're using charcoal, The rule of thumb is, this is a 12-inch oven, so you double the size of your oven, so 24, and you use 1/3 of those coals on the bottom and 2/3 on top. So the easiest way to remember is lower is less and higher is more. So if we have 24 coals, you're gonna put 8 on the bottom and 16 on top, and that'll give you about a 350 or 375 oven. I learned to cook right out of a campfire, so don't hesitate. It is not a big deal. You just get used to, you know, different woods create different heat.
Ready. Yeah.
I was like, yes. Okay, so how hungry is everybody?
Extremely.
Pork.
Pork.
So I'm gonna get a couple of you guys going on a couple.
Everything tastes better cooked outside.
All right, so we're just gonna let that cook for a little bit. And some people tell you when you put your lids on your ovens, you leave them alone and you don't check it. You got to leave it alone. Don't worry about it. If you need to check it, check it. The only thing is that the more you leave the lid on, the more juices you keep inside. So if you take your lid off, do what you need to do and get that lid back on. Stuff that you can substitute. So if you don't have flour and you're cooking something, use Bisquick. Because Bisquick is just flour with baking powder, baking soda. So a layer of brown sugar, cinnamon, and raisins, and then we're gonna melt some butter. I had never cooked in a Dutch oven. I'd cooked in cast iron, but I had never cooked in a Dutch oven. And he had horses and wagons and all that stuff. And so he introduced me to the first chuck wagon competition that I did. And then we started doing cookouts at his house and doing wagon rides and campfire dinners and stuff like that. And so when we split, I was like mortified. I thought, oh my God, I would never do it again. But he didn't like the competitions because he's a typical competitive guy, and when he didn't win, he would get mad. So I was happy about that actually, because then the sponsors, but I didn't have a chuck wagon, and chuck wagons are like $20,000. Oh wow! So yeah, it's crazy how expensive they get. But you can, you don't have to have one like that. But so the promoter of the event heard that I really wanted to do it, and they brought me a chuck wagon and dropped it in the middle of the field for 4 years. And I would show up with my girlfriends and my truck and trailer, my horse trailer, full of all of my Dutch ovens and stuff, and we would set up camp, and my girlfriends would tell me the time slots that they were available, because it was a 4-day event. So they would tell me the time slots that they were available to help, and so that I knew, because of which competition day was happening, how much help I needed at what time. And so that's how Cowgirls Forever came. So, because you couldn't have done it. Now, it's crazy. We are busy from, we start, well, it never stops sometimes.
Amazing.
And if you like them fluffier, you can add baking powder to the Bisquick. And you can do the same thing with your biscuits. If you like them even fluffier, you can always add a little more to it.
I know.
And whenever I'm cooking anything from a recipe, I always add more baking powder than it calls for.
Because of the Dutch ovens part?
Nah, just because it makes them fluffier.
Just a personal
Because I like it. There was some kind of technical logic behind
And the same with butter. I always add more butter.
Oh yeah, I do that too.
But if you're making biscuits,
Right?
the thing that's like garlic is do half lard and half butter if you're making anything fluffy. The lard has a higher heat temperature, I think it is.
Oh really?
And and it, I don't know, the technical part of it that I don't know.
Yeah.
When you're cooking in a smaller or larger pan, it's just, you don't have to measure perfectly. Same thing with your spices. We're gonna do a light layer of salt, a medium layer of pepper, and a good layer of cumin. And so when you cook in a smaller or bigger oven, you do the same thing. You just, it's just the size of your oven.
I love that. I hate measuring stuff.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and swirl on the sides a little bit, because it's gonna rise up that side. So I just want the sides to be oiled as well. And then we're gonna throw a little butter in there.
Somebody brought their
Filled it up and down.
Oh, I left mine over my
Did I miss the oil part of this? Did we put
We,
oil?
oil,
we put
always
oil in
oil
it.
your pan.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Always. Yep.
And some butter.
Before
And she
you
put up
heat
the
it,
sides,
you know.
What is my coffee cup say, Barb?
Now the nice thing about putting this on the bottom is it's a little forgiving. So if you've got your pan a little too hot, it'll burn this before it burns your cornbread.
Oh.
Okay. And then we want plenty of heat on top. And then we're gonna watch this because it did. I don't know if you can.
Oh my gosh, that's good.
Look at this.
Perfect
That
timing.
melts it. Does it have no heat?
It's better for demonstration
There you
purposes.
go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The website's cowgirlsforever.net, and on Facebook there's a Cowgirls Forever page, and then on Instagram it's cowgirls_forever_camp. And I always tell people I'm a much better cook than I am on the computer, so I rely on other people to upload things on those sites for me most of the time. So, but we do try to put new things on there too all the time. So we should put a picture of all of us on there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Did everyone have fun?
Yes. You get a chance to do this, you should do it. It's
Oh, absolutely. Hands down.
And if you leave hungry, it's your stinking fault.
awesome.